Hello all and welcome to what passes as a holiday episode in Retro Rob Land. Let's get started with things. I'm going to read The Boy Who Laughed at Santa Claus by Ogden Nash. If you're not interested in this part, I put chapters up so you can skip right by it. You have my permission. Because you really need it. Anyway, in Baltimore there lived a boy. He wasn't anybody's joy. Although his name was JB's Dawes, his character was full of flaws. In school, he never led his classes. He hid old ladies' reading glasses. His mouth was open when he chewed, and elbows to the table glued, which was such a big deal in grade school. Do they do that anymore? When I was in grade school, man, if you put your elbows up on the desk, they really, really hated it. I don't know what was up with that. But anyway, I thought, hey, I'm really into this. Nope. Teachers didn't think that. But they don't even care anymore. Anyway, he stole the milk of hungry kittens and walked through doors marked no admittance. He said he acted thus because there wasn't any Santa Claus. Another trick that tickled JB's was crying boo at little babies. He brushed his teeth, they said in town, sideways instead of up and down. Yet people pardoned every sin and viewed his antics with a grin, till they were told by JB's Dawes, there isn't any Santa Claus. Deploring how he did behave, his parents swiftly sought their grave. They hurried through the portals pearly, and JB's left the funeral early. Like whooping cough from child to child, he sped to spread the rumor wild. Sure as my name is JB's Dawes, there isn't any Santa Claus. Slunk like a weasel from a martin, through nursery and kindergarten, whispering low to every tot, no there isn't, no there's not. The children wept all Christmas Eve, and JB's chortled up his sleeve, no infant daring hang up his stocking, for fear of JB's ribald mocking. He sprawled upon his untidy bed, fresh malice dancing in his head, when presently, a scalp a-tingling, JB's heard a distant jingling. He heard the crunch of sleigh and hoof, crisply alighting on the roof. What good to rise and bar the door? A shower of soot was on the floor. What was beheld by JB's Dawes? The fireplace full of Santa Claus. When JB's fell upon his knees with cries of don't and pretty please, he howled, I don't know where you read it, but anyhow I never said it. JB's, replied the angry saint, it isn't I, it's you that ain't. Although there is a Santa Claus, there isn't any JB's Dawes. Said JB's then with impudent vim, oh yes there is, and I am him. Your magic doesn't scare me, it doesn't. And suddenly he found he wasn't. From grimy feet to grimy locks, JB's became a jack-in-the-box. An ugly toy with springs unsprung, forever sticking out his tongue. The neighbors heard his mournful squeal. They searched for him, but not with zeal. No trace was found of JB's Dawes, which led to thunderous applause. And people drank a loving cup, and went and hung their stockings up. All you who sneer at Santa Claus, beware the fate of JB's Dawes, that saucy boy who mocked the saint. Donner and Blitzen licked off his paint. Have a happy holiday, folks. Well, hello there, real gamers. Retro Rob here, and welcome to Retro Rob Plays Everything, which is kind of funny because today we're not actually playing anything, but we are looking at some games. Oh yes, we are. Games from my formative gaming years, 1980 to 1984, through the lens of the Sears Wish Catalog. So, a little bit about this. Before there was Amazon, there was basically, well, nothing. It was the world was void, honestly. But we used to shop through catalogs, which were mailed to us by the various department stores that wanted us to buy their wares. Usually, a few were sent out per year, but the really big one, and the one that really mattered to kiddom, was, of course, the Wish Catalog, or they really called them the Christmas Catalog. Sears was the only one that called theirs the Wish Catalog. But anyway, there was the Christmas Catalog, and it was packed with toys. Well, it was packed with everything. These suckers were like 300 and some pages. They were like, they're big. And you thumb through them and basically circle what you wanted, and then hopefully your parents would get it. Or they'd totally ignore it. Really depended on the parents, just like today. But anyway, that's how your wish list worked in the 80s. And pretty much every family had a favorite. Some families were JCPenney people. Some, I think Macy's was big. But here in the Midwest, mainly it was Sears. I mean, JCPenney, yeah, a second. But Sears was the amazing one. Yeah, Toys R Us existed, and we liked the Toys R Us one, but all the magic was in Sears. And I think it's also the most interesting of them. It ran from 1933 to 2011, and they had their game down. Sears had their game down, and they would actually rebrand video game systems to the Sears branding, and I think that makes it a little more interesting. Okay, but enough babbling on. Let's open up one of these and take a look. We're going to start with 1980. All right, folks, I want to start with, man, how difficult it was getting this video together, the pieces for it. I cannot believe how hard it is to find a series of catalogs as opposed to just finding like one or two. You can always find one or two of them, but actually getting like a sequence of years is very hard, especially if it's very specific, like I wanted to do. But anyway, I'm amazed at how hard it was. But anyway, if anybody ever needs help with that, let me know, and I will I'll let you know how I got away with it all. But anyway, the internet archive is your friend for a lot of this, but it doesn't have everything. Anyway, I want to start here. This is 1975, which is the first place where I found video games actually showing up in the wild. And it's funny because, can I zoom in on this? Yes, I can. Oh, let's just do this a little bit. There we go. And take a look at this guy right here. TV tennis. It's got the dials on the TV. How cool is that? And also, by the way, electro hockey. And this one's a simulated TV, though. How weird. Now, this uses 3D battery, so I'm guessing that this is probably not even really a TV, I'm thinking. But anyway, there were actual TVs with Pong built into them. A friend of mine, Larry, did a video on it a while back. I'll see if I can find that and link it up for you, but it's really interesting. But anyway, it's the first time I saw them. If you know of an earlier one, let me know, because I wouldn't mind seeing it. But I thought these were really pretty cool. Before we continue on to 1980, I just wanted to show you this, I believe, is the first example of the Atari VCS showing up in a Sears Wish book. This is 1977, and look at the art, man. That is very non-Atari art. That's Sears art, and that's because they rebranded this thing. It has, look at Sears Telegames Video Arcade, and you can see that they've got some renamings. What was the name of Outer Space? Space War. Yeah. See, if you take a look, they don't even have the names the same. Space War. That isn't Space War either. What is this? What's the name of this game? There was maybe it is Space War. I thought Space War was the one with the two ships firing at each other. Anyway, you got Target Fun, which was a family favorite at this point, and Pong Sports, which is another family favorite. Pong Sports was really pretty well loved in my group. I played a lot of blackjack, believe it or not, as well. But yeah, anyway, I thought this was kind of interesting. But let's go on to 1980. All right, here we go with the Wish Book for 1980 holiday season, depicting a couple of happy parents looking over their creepy kids. Playing with, I believe that's Fisher Price. As I recall, that's Fisher Price. I don't recall that actual toy, though, which is kind of weird because that would have been... Yeah, no, it wouldn't have been age appropriate for me, come to think about it. By 1980, I was on to better things. Probably blowing things up, I'm guessing. All right, let's go take a look at the video game section. Hold on a sec. On the way to the video games, I ran into this page on Star Wars stuff. Oh, look at that. I had the Cloud Car, which is number 2 up there. And I also had the Millennium Falcon, which was like the main gift of the year for that year. I'm trying to remember when I got it. I don't think it was in 1980, though. I think it was like in 1981. But anyway, man, look at that. Just look at it. That was a beautiful toy. By the way, I did not have an Atari of my own until the Sears Arcade 2 came out. Up until then, I played with my Uncle Jeff, so I didn't have one. But anyway, of all the toys on here, other than many of the figures I had, those were the Cloud Car and the Millennium Falcon were the 2 I had. I didn't even have an X-Wing, and I didn't have a TIE Fighter. Yeah, I was so abused. Let's go on. All right, some video game action with the Sears Video Arcade system on the right, coming in at $154.95, and it looks like Target Fun was included. I think this is when my uncle got his, right around 1980, and it might have been 79 to be honest. But boy, what a game system, including those paddles too. And Target Fun, hours of fun. I think I mentioned that already though. Let's go up another page. Maybe I should be on it. There we go. And looking down the list of games, Space Invaders, which came with mine. Night Driver I liked, but I was never very good at it. I've always found it an excessively hard game. Number 20, of course, is Adventure, which is one of the greatest games in my opinion of all time. It's just a wonderful little game. And believe it or not, at the time, I played quite a bit of the football and baseball games for the VCS. I'm also going to note that both my uncle and I at some point had these storage cubes. I cannot remember whether he had them first and gave them to me after I got my Atari to store my stuff, but we both had those, and my uncle had them well into the late 90s, storing his old Atari games because he kept his Atari around for a pretty long time, but he had that like forever. It was always nice to see. Another thing to note is these handhelds here. By the way, Quiz Whiz. I do remember Stop Thief, and I think I wanted it quite a bit. I'm almost sure a friend of mine had it, but as I recall, that game was quite a bit of fun. And it was kind of a precursor to that game Dark Tower, which was really insane. Another thing you want to note here is look at all these electronic handheld games. Hit and Missile. Blip was very popular in my group. There were several people who had it. I never had it, but look at that game. It looks pretty great. And then look over here at number 6. What's up with number 6? Number 6. I remember seeing this. This is called the Game Machine. 4 of your favorite games, plus a calculator and 1 tabletop console. I have a feeling this is very reminiscent of those later Chinese knockoff games that you see in the market now, or they called the Pop Station. But I remember I wanted one, but it never really... You had to pick what you circled, man. If you wanted to get anything you wanted, you had to be very careful and just circle your favorite stuff. Otherwise, parents were going to forget about it. Mine were, anyway. Next, we have that really cool Cosmic Pinball. Look at that thing. Just look at it. It's glorious. Down below, that Digital Derby was another game that was super popular in my group. My cousin had this, and she loved it, and we all played it. Like every holiday, we'd all come over and play that game. So it was actually pretty cool. I think looking back on it, it probably wasn't amazing. If I ever get a chance to get one of those, I'll do a modern recap on it. That Sears football game at the top, I had a baseball variant of it, and it wasn't the one down below, not that hip pocket. If I happen to see it, we'll mention it in here, but I didn't see it when I was looking through this the first time. But I really liked, there was a really good baseball game that was made like these little LED games. And of course, that football is one of the most famous games ever. I remember the original one was a single player, and a lot of people love that. But a lot of my friends had this team play one where you can play against each other. It was pretty popular. The baseball game number 4 down at the bottom here, that was a lot like the one I had, except mine was yellow. It's a bright yellow one. I've been looking for that one, and I never did find it again. And there we go. We're on to the very disappointing dishwasher. Look at those things, man. Anyway, let's go on to 1981. Here's a 1981 Sears Wishbook. Wrap up a beautiful Christmas at Sears. I can't help but feel that they're just, I don't know, phoning this one in. Oh, it's a bow. That's really great. I mean, it's a nice slogan, but not an amazing cover. Just saying. Look at that. Right when you open up the book, there's a Galaxian 2 electronic game over there, number 4. Galactic Encounters at your fingertips. Arcade-style game for 1 or 2 players. Features realistically shaped spaceships, bombs, and missiles. What? Anyway, in 3-color, computer-controlled fluorescent display. Mute switch for electronic sound effects or silent play. Progressive degree of difficulty with bonus scoring and 2 skill levels. Wow. Very nice. Also from this, my dad had this Your Name private bar. So he had a Jim's private bar mirror. That's number 6. So I always wondered where he got it from. And now I know he got it from Sears, which is not a huge surprise. All these little sports games were kind of in their own section. So if I go a page back, we've got teddy bears. And if I go a page up, we've got some race cars and some baby stuff. So it's kind of interesting that they separated this from the rest and gave it its own section. On 656, we have more digital games, including my favorite Cosmic Pinball, which had a price cut apparently in 1981. Cosmic Combat Missile Invader, which looks pretty interesting. That electronic bowling game that I wouldn't mind either, although it looks like, so the ball is just a steely, right? And then that's a ball bearing. Did everybody call them steelies? Was that like a regional thing? But anyway, yeah, it looks like it's got a ball bearing there that you hit up, and then it determines how many pins you hit, which doesn't seem like it's terribly reliable. It was also reduced, by the way. It was originally nearly $30, and it was down to $14.99. What's it say about it? Aim and shoot. Steel ball zips down the alley to the lighted pins. Flashing lights, musical sounds accompany strikes, spares, gutter balls, and near misses. Up to 2-player scores plus frame number. Strikes, spares, and extra 10th frame balls shown on LED display. Pretty cool. Well, in retrospect, it's cool. I don't know how I'd have felt if I got it for Christmas, even though I kind of like bowling games. But I liked them on the Atari, which had the best bowling ever, which I mentioned a bunch of times. Digital Daredevil looks kind of interesting, too. Jump over barrels, hurdles, and cars as this game challenges your skill at stunt motorcycle driving. Okay. There's Stop Thief again. Was it on sale yet? No, it was not. What a disappointment. All right, now we're to the video games. But on the left, holy crud, I forgot all about this. That Dungeons and Dragons electronic game? Holy crud, I forgot about it. I wanted one of those so bad. Oh, man. I wonder how good it was. I wanted everything really bad when I was a kid, come to think of it. By the way, I loved Dungeon. If you look at the Guys, Games, and Beer channel, I did an interview with the creator of Dungeon, Edward McGarry, I believe is his name. And it was a great interview. There were tears and stuff. But anyway, You might want to check that out. I'll link it if I remember, which of course 50-50. But if you look up Dungeon and Guys, Games, and Beer, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. Great interview. Larry and I were just starstruck, which doesn't happen very often on that show. Anyway, there's the tower. I've played that within the last year or two, by the way. But anyway, what does it say about the Computer Labyrinth game? Enter the world of strategy and adventure as you begin your quest to find and take the dragon's treasure. Electronic sound clues lead you. Play alone against dragon or against dragon and rival warrior. 2 skill levels. That was almost a Chinese description there, wasn't it? I'm almost sure I played it. I'm almost sure somebody I knew had it. Maybe not. I don't know. Memory is a fickle thing. On the right, though, we've got that awesome Sears version of the Intellivision. Look at that thing. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Telegame electronic games cartridges for the Sears Super Video Arcade. Test your skill and strategy with 19 of the most challenging game cartridges we sell. Shown here and on page 667, so I guess we're going to have to look there. 2 keypad overlays with each cartridge. Customize your handheld controls for easy on-screen maneuvering. Yeah, so Atari was not the only one getting rebranded by Sears. There was also the Intellivision. I don't think they had a ColecoVision, though, that I recall. There was a Telegames ColecoVision, but I don't think it was related to the Sears one, as I recall. It was just some company called that named itself Telegames afterwards, with no dash, by the way. And here, of course, we have the Sears Video Arcade. Beautiful. Stellar Track was actually pretty good. Most of you guys probably know these games. I mean, Warlords is a classic. It's really good. Arcade Pinball, not so much, but I liked it, actually. I played it quite a bit. Missile Command was amazing. Maze Mania, my uncle and I used to play that one quite a bit, and I found it enjoyable anyway. Pele Soccer was number 14. I got that for my birthday one year, and I actually liked it. What was kind of interesting about soccer was when you got a goal, it would actually like shoot off these fireworks. It would like show fireworks. It was a really nice effect. So it was very enjoyable. Video arcade organizer for $29.49. Ooh, look at that Gunslinger 2 in the bottom right hand corner. Play 6 exciting games: skeet hockey, tennis, handball, and I Lie and Target. I Lie. I have nothing to say. But. Oh, all right. Well, whatever. A little bit more Atari, a little bit more Intellivision, of course, renamed with the Sears branding. Is the kid showing? Is the one kid? No, are they supposed to be looking? I'm looking at the I'm looking at the picture on the top left, and I'm trying to figure out how that works. Because he's not really looking at the screen. She's looking at the screen at least. He's maybe looking at his mom. I don't know. His mom's looking at him. Dad's looking at the game. So dad and daughter are paying attention to the game. Boy, I don't know. He's just beating away on that thing. And the Intellivision one has quite the scene too. You've got the kid with the controller not even facing the TV, and mom's trying to figure out how to press a button apparently, while dad ignores his rather slow family. And look at, what is this? That's the second year in a row where there's like where they did a washer and dryer like right after the video games. I hope this is a pattern. I never noticed that before. Huh. All right. Let's go on to 1982. And here we are with 1982. Celebrating the 50th edition of our holiday wish book. Wrap up a beautiful Christmas at Sears. Hey, that's a little odd because it's 1982, not 1983. It started, well, anyway, I don't care. Satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. Let's talk about this cover, shall we? Number one, that house, those windows remind me of the Amityville Horror House. Just saying. And I mean, it's higher effort than the year before. It's attempting to look classy, so I'm okay with it. But just nothing like that 1980, is it? By the way, big shout out to wishbookweb.com for posting this one. Oh man, right when you open the book, look at that, starting out strong with some Donkey Kong. Nice. These are all under $75, this whole page, and Donkey Kong comes in at $59.99. Features 3 games in one. Yeah, they're all Donkey Kong though. An ape has stolen the carpenter's girlfriend and taken her to the top of a steel fortress. The carpenter must get back to the top. Oh, must get back. Why do I keep saying get back? Must get to the top to save her, avoiding the barrels that the ape sends his way. Nice. And then there's another 2 challenging situations. That thing's sweet. Very collectible nowadays, too. I also want to point out that awesome toaster oven underneath. Nice. And number 7. I'm a little bit worried that this is like a professional flasher code. Let's go on. Ooh, and look at this from the, it's not a video game, but it's a video game shirt department. Look at that. Pac-Man and Donkey Kong, both as shirts. There's an AD&D shirt there too. They're those like baseball style shirts. Those are awesome. I never had one when I was a kid. Huh. Boy, did I miss out. There's also an ET shirt down there. Not Pac-Man enough? Well, look at this. It's a Pac-Man sleeping bag. Look at that. And a duffel bag. So you can put your sleeping bag in a duffel bag. That's amazing. I really like that. That's good looking. Look at that. It's weird that they branded the video game systems as Sears, but not the computers. So here's some Atari computers, and they're labeled Atari. Look at that Atari 800. No wonder everybody had the 400, huh? Still. That is not... Boy, they don't say much about it either, do they? It does say it's got... Let's see, the 400 has 16 kilobytes of RAM, and the 800 has 48K of RAM, which made it a little bit more competitive with the Commodore 64. Very nice. How much? Ooh, those will set you back. You need to get some storage for that other than the cartridge, and just a tape deck will cost you nearly $100. And that floppy drive, $549.99. That is much more expensive than the C64's drive. It's around $200. Feel free to tell me how wrong I am. Take a look at the page on the right with that epic, and I mean epic, Pac-Man watch. Number 4. Pac-Man Game Watch for $29.99. You can play Pac-Man and know the time. That's awesome. Awesome. Also, the earrings are not bad either. Looking below, there's another, what is that? Space Attackers Game Watch. Test your skill against alien invaders. Silver color base metal case. Stainless steel case back and band. Very nice. And also below that is Combat and the Dukes of Hazzard Game Watch. Goodness. Wow. Gaming right on your wrist. Eat your heart out, Apple. Oh yeah, more handhelds for Christmas. First thing I want to note is take a look at the bowling game down at the bottom. I think it's number 18. Is it number 18? I can't really make it out. It might be number 19. But if you look at the bottom, it is a much improved bowling game over the one last year. Really cool looking, isn't it? Might want that one. Also, note how many of the handhelds have fallen to the black and white section of the magazine. You know your star is pretty much burnt out when on the Christmas magazine you are now in black and white. That's it. It's the end of your toy, buddy. It's all over. By the way, I want to note and thank Muse Technical.com for this one. I'll put a link to them down below because on most sites, the back half of the 1981 catalog is missing, but fortunately, they have the rest of the catalog. So I was able to show you these games that weren't in the catalog in most sources. Let's go on though. Now look at all these handhelds and arcade machines. You got Frogger, world's ugliest Frogger. Oh my god, look at that guy. But the game was pretty decent. But I think it's kind of interesting that these trends kind of come and go. A few years ago, you saw like a big increase in the amount of mini arcades there were. And indeed, back in the 80s, we had them too. Also, if you look to the right, look at that Vectrex over there. That is absolutely sweet. There's also the Adventure Vision, which I have never seen in person. Anybody own one of those? Let me know what you think about that thing. I have never seen one of those in person. I sure would like to, though. Pretty cool. This is really a cool page. Well, a couple pages. Sears Telegames, we play for keeps. Come on. It's kind of interesting that by 1982, you're starting to see the branding kind of peel away. In 1980, 1981, you only saw the Sears brand name for things, but if you look on the right of this ad, you'll see Super Video Arcade or Mattel Intellivision Systems. And one thing I am going to say that until years later, I didn't even know that there was a Sears Telegames version of the Intellivision. I don't know if it wasn't like big in my area or whether it's just a thing where it wasn't widely known or released, but clearly it's here right in their wish book. I just apparently never noticed it. I don't know, just a gap in my memory. But there's some pretty sweet games in here. Yeah. Anyone ever play Snafu, by the way? That's pretty fun. Cool stuff. Let's go on. All right, things are getting more interesting at this point because we've got more of the Super Video Arcade, which means there's a whole lot of Intellivision going on in this catalog. But on the right, notice the Odyssey 2 video game system is now in the Wish catalog, and I'm pretty sure that this is the first time it shows up in a Christmas catalog for Sears. And this thing's been around since 1978, but here we are in 1982, where there's just so much demand for video games that you just got pages and pages of video game stuff. And here we have the Odyssey 2. I don't know if they carried it before then, but sure as heck they're carrying it now. Also on there is the voice system, which is pretty cool. The little voice add-on for the Odyssey 2, which I thought was pretty cool. Who can't love that? All right, let's go on. Oh, and just look at the glory. Sears Telegames. You got Sears Video Arcade or Atari Video Computer Systems. Of course, just continuing that idea of expanding the market, because now it doesn't just mention that it's Sears Arcade. It says, hey, this is Atari 2. This is the same thing. You can play these games on that system. I don't know if rebranding or rebadging was the greatest idea in Sears' history, but I suppose it gives them a unique place in history, the rebadging. But anyway, there's some cool games on here. My uncle loved Dragster, and I just never got into it. Adventure still prominently displayed within the games, but you see Riddle of the Sphinx there, which I only recently learned how to play. I might do a video on that. Haunted House, Superman, which was another favorite within my group, not one of my favorites. I never had it back in the day. Bowling, one of the best games ever. My dad and I endlessly played Activision Bowling, where you punched each other right in the nose. It was great. There's actually a lot of classics in here. Hockey, Fishing Derby, which has been renamed. And I suppose somebody's going to get mad if I don't mention Pitfall, which of course is just great stuff. On the right, you got a lot of interesting looking carrying cases. I don't think I've ever seen the one marked B down there, that exclusive Sears wood-grained video game cart, which that looks amazing. And unfortunately, they logoed over the price of that, but I'd like to know the price on that. Looks pretty darn nice. I like it. I'd be proud to have that right in my living room. And my wife wouldn't. All right, folks, look at this. Just look at what you are seeing here. Take it in for a second. You're seeing the rise of commercialism in video gaming. You're seeing a Star Wars branded video gaming. Down the corner underneath me, sorry about that. I should have cut this window down a little bit. But Smurf is right below there. Some other things, a little bit of crossover here too from the Intellivision. Dark Caverns and Frogs and Flies were both Intellivision games first. You're seeing just some of the most amazing games to come out of Activision during that time period. You got Kaboom, which was a classic. You got Mega Mania, which is amazing. Star Master, which I absolutely loved. There's just so many great games coming out at this time. Look at Chopper Command down in the corner. Should have been front and center, I tell ya. But I think nobody really knew, or at least the people making these ads really knew what was going to be the biggest game. They just kind of guessed at it. But anyway, you got Atlantis, Cosmic Arc. I mean, just some great games that are still fun to play today. And weirdly, right in the middle there, you see Target Fun? Still there, because it's a mega hit. All right, let's go on. And here we come to the last of the gaming, but look at that. Another couple pages of Atari with some of the classics on the left page. Frogger's ugly butt showing up again. That's the ugly version of Frogger. I shouldn't say that. It's not, the game was great. It's just that frog. It's kind of weird. Also, that Pac-Man's a little whack looking, but it's okay. But on the right is the important thing, which is the Sears Video Arcade 2, which is indeed my first Atari, marking this as the year I got my first Atari. That is the one right there with Space Invaders. What a beauty. And I still have one in my collection today. Just a great, great, great little console. Because, by the way, it was imported. It was well, was it imported or was it exported to Japan? But anyway, it doesn't matter. It was called the Atari 2800 in Japan. And it was fabulous because those controllers were not just joysticks. No, no, no. Nope, they were paddles too. There's 4 ports on the front as well. I've got a video somewhere where I did a little bit on the Video Arcade 2, and I think I'm going to probably do a modern version of it. But anyway, yeah, great little system. Gave you carpal tunnel every time, guaranteed. And of course, it wouldn't be Christmas without a new Kenmore washer and dryer right on the next page. Boy, that really told the kids to quit reading, didn't it? Now that's more like it. The 1983 Wishbook featuring a lovely fireplace with a rocking horse in front of it. Wonder if they sell all that stuff that's shown in there. I bet they do. Anyway, yeah, that's a good cover. I like it. Says Christmas. I'm guessing since it's marketing, you'd probably want to put some presents in there. But you know what? It captures the mood right. So I'm not complaining at all. Right when you open up the catalog, there's a couple items of interest. There is the Timex Sinclair 1000, clocking in at $89.98. I think I'm trying to remember. Does it say how much RAM it has? Yeah, 16K of RAM. So it's kind of at VIC-20 strength there. Actually, it's not even. I'd say the VIC-20 is a better machine, but I don't want to get into it with a bunch of people who love the Timex Sinclair, and rightfully so, by the way. Not going to be too hard on it. The other thing on the right is Zaxxon, the the mini arcade Zaxxon, which, to be honest, I still think is better than the Atari 2600 version. It was really that I did play that one a few times, and I have to say they definitely took a decent swing at it with their 80s technology. But you know, it is what it is, and it's not amazing these days, but still pretty cool. Nice try, guys. Oh, look at that on the right-hand side. It's a Qbert watch. That's so awesome. What's it say about that one? Help Qbert get from one cube of the pyramid to another without being trapped. Special sound effects. Yeah, I bet they're special. Make this game even more fun. Yeah, that's pretty decent, actually. I would have liked that. There's good old Pac-Man over there, and there is a very, very simplified Frogger as well. Look at that. There's a somewhat expanded computer section here. We've got the Atari 800 XL. Look at that pretty thing. That's a nice looking Atari. My neighbor had that one, and he really liked it. I, of course, was a Commodore 64 guy, but have respect for the 800 XL. I think it's a really, really nice computer. I like the way I kind of blurred those words together. It was kind of been talking too long is what's going on. All right. Next we have the TI-99 4A, and it can respond to your voice and even talk back. Now, I have never seen this feature, and I did have a TI-99 4A, but never saw that. I also never saw that controller. That's a nice Pro controller they got there. Huh. I'd like to try that out once. Is that Shamus? Did they have Shamus on this? Seamus? Do you call it Seamus? I always called it Shamus, but I bet you it's Seamus. But anyway, yeah. Donkey Kong, Pac-Man, Centipede, all the basics were there. Good reason to like the TI-99. All right, there's one more page of interesting stuff here, and there is the Timex Sinclair 2068, which I don't think I've ever seen in person. Look at that thing. It's tiny. $179.99, and it's all the computing power you may ever need. So if any of you guys are watching this on your Timex Sinclair 2068, hey there, in the future. I like that printer too. That printer's adorable. All right, I'm stopping on this page because there's something interesting, and I've got a story about it. All right, it's not that interesting. It's not that great of a story, but it is kind of funny to me. Right in the middle is the Dungeons and Dragons handheld, which a friend of mine had. And he played it for about 8 years before he returned it to Target. I'm not kidding. He used it like forever and then returned it. It's crazy. They no longer even had the things in stock. I mean, it was like ridiculously outdated. I don't know how he pulled it off. But anyway, he got some ridiculously small amount for it. Kind of funny. He's probably hurting about having sold that one. Crazy. Alrighty then, we've got more of those mini arcades. You see Qbert, Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, and Miss Pac-Man. I think they were there last year, but you're getting these little flat ones over here, like Tiger's Monster Maze and Tiger's Space Invaders. So Tiger is coming on the scene for Sears purchasers at this point. They had some interesting stuff. Also, if you look at the Turn and Turbo dashboard shift game, that one way at the bottom center, that one, everybody had that I knew. Like, everybody had it. I did not have one, but all my friends did. Yeah, because I was horribly abused as a child, you know, my Atari. Okay, so here's another thing. Notice that there's no Atari Arcade 2 anymore. There's no Sears Arcade 2 anymore. What we have here is Atari branded stuff. We've got Atari, and you got the Coleco Gemini, which is also an Atari, and you've got some great peripherals. I'm going to mention Reactor because I always thought Reactor was underrated on the Atari 2600. It was a great game. Also, the Activision Decathlon. Get a sturdy joystick, but definitely play that. It is a wonderful game and a really, really fun time, especially if you got a friend to play with. Moonsweeper down there was an obsession of mine for a long time. I never played Mr. Duo on the... I never did. Yeah, I never played it on the Atari 2600. I'll have to grab that one and try it out. I've done videos on some of the other ones that are in here. I think I did Robot Tank, didn't I? But anyway, let's look over to the right a little bit at these weird controllers like the Cosmic Commander, which I have used and was really, really not a good controller. It was not well put together. I think I probably had it. For some reason, I had a lot of joysticks in my collection growing up. I must have went through them a lot, or just whenever they were on sale, I'd grab one. But anyway, the Wicco I had, and of course I had that ball to throw on top of your, that's number 20 by the way, that ball to throw on top of your Atari joystick to make it seem more arcade. The TAC-2 I didn't have till years later. I've got them now. Slick Stick was kind of a mainstay. I did not have the trackball. I've got that now as well. And the Suncom horror show, which I did want, but never enough to actually pick up, so I never tried that one. It's hard to pick between 21, 22, and 23. All three of those joysticks are just great. If you're an Atari fan, you might want to pick one of those three up because they're classic and really well built. Look at this, more Atari. That's right. Look at they're still showing the Sears Video Arcade 1 and 2 a little bit. Dragonfire, amazing. Spider Fighter, amazing. Jungle Hunt, really good port. Enduro, really wonderful. You got Smurf, Impossible. No, Strawberry Shortcake. More branding. Notice branding. Look at this stuff. You've got Raiders of the Lost Ark, which my dad and I played to death. Great game. Just a great game. Keystone Caper shows up. Look at that. That's so nice. So nice. There's actually not an amazing amount of branding on this one, but you do have Strawberry Shortcake and you have Smurf. And you have The Empire Strikes Back. Oh, Jedi Arena. Forget it. There's a lot on here. And the worst port of Zaxxon and Tutankhamun ever made. That said, Vanguard's pretty darn good. That's a good one. It has a great commercial for it. All right. Those prices are pretty in line, too. Look at that. You get a Dark Cavern for $8. It's a good deal. Look at that. Price cuts left and right. What a surprise. More of the Atari organized. Oh, wait. Do we get it? All right, the storage cart was $59.99. Is that the right one? I love that G. G is the... Oh, I like that. Look at G. Bottom right-hand corner. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. I love that it mentions that it won't hold the 5200 because, 5200's gigantic. Ridiculously oversized. We've got a fair showing here from the Odyssey 2. There is mention of the Lord of the Rings game, which is actually really good on that. It's half board game. Actually, it's mostly board game, a little bit video game, but pretty decent selection of games for the Odyssey 2. I've had a couple of them. I actually think they're okay. They might have been a little bit underrated by people playing later. There is, of course, the Vectrex. Look at that price. Don't you wish you could get one for $99.99 now? It kills me because there was one at my Sears that I didn't buy. It was on clearance for like $30. I'm an idiot. That said, hindsight's always 20/20. I love my Vectrex. It's a great game system. Just great. And here we go with Intellivision with its 1,000,001 peripherals. They and the Commodore 64, man. Look at that Intellivision player. Look at that keyboard. You could be rocking it in the 80s with that thing. By keyboard, I mean the musical one. Then there's the other keyboard. I had one of those, but mine didn't work. The computer add-on I had, but it didn't work, sadly. The Intellivision 2, which is actually my favorite model of Intellivision 2. However, if you are a collector and player, just note that it does not play every Intellivision game. There is a number of them that won't play. As I recall, it was a lot
of the Magic games didn't play on it. No, was it? Yeah, I think it might have been, or the Coleco games. Anyway, note that some don't play. Intellivision is pretty cool. I like it. You know, there's a big, you know, what would you call it? A rift between us Atari players and the Intellivision crowd. But I had a friend who was huge into Intellivision, so it was a little bit easier to deal with. Plus, I mean, B-17 Bomber, freaking great. Atari 5200. That is one obscene joystick. Command Control Deluxe joystick is very, yeah. All right, trackball controller looks nice. I don't have one for mine. I wouldn't mind one though. It'd probably help. The controllers were on the 5200. They were pretty much unusable, except Space Dungeon. If you get lucky though, you can still get a pair of them that center somewhat, and then it's an okay experience. You could also get some pass-through so that you can use an Atari 2600 controller with it, and then you just use the keypad from the 5200. And then there's modern remakes for them. So if you want to do a 5200, remember all those options are available for you, and the 5200 itself is not a bad system, and the games aren't bad. It's just the controllers were atrocious, in my opinion. More Atari 5200. Kicks, good game on it. Even with the original controller, it's pretty good. Never played Countermeasure, but many of the others I played and thought these are all pretty good. And on the right here, we got ColecoVision. Look at that showing up. No Sears branded ColecoVision. How heartbreaking. The ColecoVision, again, this is another game system that's aged really well. If you throw a modern like arcade remake controller onto the ColecoVision, it is a great game system. Almost every game. Are there any games on here that suck? On this page, not a one sucks. All of them were good. No duds at all. That Zaxxon is really good too, although Commodore 64's was a little bit better, but still, man, what a lot of good games on there. Coleco held up. Mr. Do, Victory, Frogger, look at that. Subrock. I don't think I played Subrock. Have to check that one out. I do have a roller controller for mine. It's pretty fun. My cousin had the driving module. I do too now. I haven't actually tested it out. But that driving module is pretty darn cool. Like I say, we used to play a lot of that. Down the corner, you've got the Pro controllers, which are really pretty good. I play ColecoVision with that, and it seems to work just fine with most games. And of course, we could not wrap up 1983 without some Kenmore appliances. Sideways. Let's get on to our final year, 1984. And here we go with Wishbook 84. Look at that smiling happy kid on the cover. See, now there is a cover for a Wishbook. Were they charging for these things? They charged for them? I could have swore they mailed them out. $2 for the Wishbook. So my mom was buying these every year? Anyway, I don't blame her because they're like pretty cool. Boy, I wonder if she still got them. Probably not. They have a fireplace. When you have a fireplace, at some point, every piece of paper becomes a fire starter. Anyway, yeah, this is a great cover. Really like it. It's got some product in it, too, if you look. Yeah, well done. Wow, look at that carpet. That's crazy. All right, and here's what you're not going to see at the beginning of this. A bunch of video gaming stuff. And this might be a sign of the crash. Note that 1983, there was no internet to tell you there was a video game crash, okay? But by 1984, you knew something was up. But 1983 was still like full bore as far as Christmas went for video gaming. And then, yeah. Well, let's go. More signs of the times here as you see the the Tomy racing game is sitting there all by itself. Some other toys. Not another electronic friend nearby. That's sad. And then let's go up a little bit, and you can see greatly reduced enthusiasm for the handhelds. It's sad. Hey all, Future Rob here, and I didn't like the first recording of this, so I'm doing it better because Future Rob's way better than past Rob. Hope this does not break the narrative for you. Also, I'm recording a different size window. I don't know why I recorded it in widescreen, but anyway, let's get going here. Taking a look, Dungeons and Dragons. Look at all that D&D stuff, man. D&D heaven over there. Nice. Okay, quit oogling. Get on with it. We've got the Gemini. We've got the Gemini game system, which of course, that's the Coleco Gemini, which ran Atari games. I guess if you can't beat them, join them. They could have maybe just changed their controller up, their original controller up, and gone with, you know, I don't know, the new controller, and just kept doing their stuff. But the Atari did have a lot more games. Another thing to note on the right-hand side here is that Atari is back to being branded as Atari. It says Atari 2600. It doesn't say Sears Arcade. They do allude to the Sears Arcade in this one, but at this point, it's down to Atari 2600. This is right at, what you'd consider video game crash time. So we're seeing that in this. In fact, the next year's catalog, I don't think I saw video games at all in it. But anyway, maybe we'll get to 1985 next year. We'll see. Get a handle on your game with these great controllers for your 2600 or Gemini. Love that. But look at the 3 joysticks on display here. The TAC2, you got the Wickle bat handle joystick. It's not I really like the 3-way one that had the 3 different, it had like a ball, and then it had a grip, and then it had the bat. But anyway, and then you've got the slick stick. All 3, just some of the best controllers for the Atari 2600 ever, and nice to see. Next page, look at all the games. We've got some more Atari 2600. We've got a lot of arcade porting here. That Congo Bongo does not. That's not right. Not at all. Anyway, on the right side, Frogger 2, which I actually had back in the day, which is amazing. Montezuma's Revenge, a hard-to-get cartridge for the Atari 2600, and a really great game. If you ever question whether the 2600 is worth playing, try some Montezuma's Revenge on it. There's other versions that are good. I almost said something different. There's other versions that are pretty good, but the 2600 version just flows really well. You just try it once. It's really good. You got Pengo, which I've never played on the 2600. That's weird. In fact, I didn't know it came out on it. Huh. How many years of Atari have I been doing? I don't know that. Anyway, Star Wars the Arcade also got it, I think, for Christmas, and thought it was pretty darn great. Good game. And Space Shuttle, Enduro, River Raid, Pitfall. Wow. This is a page of wonder. Look at Mr. Doo's Castle. Get out of here. That could not have been right. I used to love that game in the arcades. Okay, so this I'd be happy. Every game on this page, I'd just be happy to be playing. Look at Hero. Come on. Oh, a page full of memories. All right, let's go on. Atari 5200. Welcome to 1984. Look at that version of Mr. Doo's Castle on display. What? Seriously, I gotta do some hunting. Oh, that River Raid picture is totally legit. Hero, another great game. A lot of good games here too. Frogger 2. Yep. Solid stuff. How much are these games? $19.99 for Hero. I'd be happy right now to pay $19.99 for Hero. I would totally do that. And you can throw in some Montezuma's Revenge. I think I do have that for the 5200. And an actually halfway decent controller for the 5200 in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen by Wicco. Nice. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Paspy said the same thing, but it looks obscene. Okay. I'm sorry. Well, I wanted this to be fresh, so I didn't look over this before I did this. I love seeing. Next to the ColecoVision, look at that. We have some Cabbage Patch Kids. Why? Who thinks that this is a good thing? Mom, I either want a ColecoVision or I want a Cabbage Patch Kid. Not sure. I'm just going to circle both. Anyway. We got a lot of good games here, including the Cabbage Patch Kids, which I've never played, so I don't know if that's any good. Subrock, Buck Rogers, which was quite good on the ColecoVision. Mousetrap was wonderful. That version of Venture Dough is good. Zaxxon for the ColecoVision. I met the developer. I'm trying to remember his name. I actually met the developer of Zaxxon on ColecoVision. I think I might have interviewed him for Guys, Games, and Beer. But that was a really good port. I've got that one. Definitely worth playing. You got Space Panic down there, which, I haven't played much Space Panic, and it's a game I always say I'm going to come back to. War Room I have not played. Carnival, obviously, is amazing on ColecoVision. There's another version. I'm going to have to start getting Mr. Dew's Castle for these, because I have never played, as far as I know, a home port of Mr. Dew's Castle. That should happen. Definitely. Then you got Qbert. Great. Also met the developer of that game, too. Nice guy. On the last page, we have the Odyssey, which it's so odd that you don't see it. I don't think we saw it in any of... We did see it in one earlier one, but you don't see it till like the later years. The Odyssey 2, was around since what, the 70s or late 70s, early 80s? And it's just showing up now with, of course, Quest for the Rings, which is, a good game for it. We actually, I had a friend, his aunt had, of all things, the Odyssey 2, and we used to play some of it, and it was actually pretty fun to play if you had two players. It was clearly inferior to the other platforms, but that Casey's Crazy Chase was pretty good. Or Casey Munchkin. No, it's Casey Munchman, which was the one that got them sued. That one was pretty good. I played that. I think I played Quest for the Rings, and I'm pretty sure I had a copy of it laying around too for a while, but got rid of it when I opted out of the Odyssey 2. But still, fun game system. And look at the robots on the right. Look at that. He's holding the catalog. How much love is that? I was just finishing up the editing of this video when I realized I did not show you the washing machine for 1984. I am so sad. And I'm also sorry about, the fact that this is green screened and the rest wasn't. The whole thing should have been green screen. But anyway, let's hit the next page. I already know what's about to happen, so. Yeah. That's right. Not even a Kenmore appliance there. Nope. On to guitars. So, I'm sorry to say that things crashed so hard in 1984 that Sears wouldn't even put them near their favorite washing machines. All right. I believe that wraps it up for 1984, and that's the last catalog on our tour. I want to thank everybody very much for watching this video, and a big happy holidays to all of you. Stay safe. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Killer Kwanzaa, whatever your thing might be this holiday season. Also want to thank Muse Technical, Internet Archive, Wishbook Web, and the Sears Archives, all of which were used to make this video, although it probably doesn't show. Alright, folks, it's fairly obvious, and I really hope it doesn't break the narrative. I'm recording this one weeks after gazing along with the Starfighter. Anyway, great stuff. And, hey folks, Future Rob here, and big apologies if this breaks the narrative for you guys. Hope it doesn't. But anyway, I'm obviously a couple weeks, well, not obviously. Hello folks, Future Rob here, and apologies if this breaks the narrative. I didn't like the first recording of this particular segment, so I'm inserting myself into the video and redoing the section. Pass Rob. Sometimes I got. Anyway, let's go on. Hope it doesn't break the narrative. Wraps it up for the 2022 holiday video. I want to thank you guys very much for watching. Also want to give a thank you to Muse. Hey all, and welcome to What? This is the boy who laughed at Santa Claus. Santa Claus. Santa Claus. He said he acted thus because there wasn't any Santa Claus. Another trick that tickled Jabez was crying boo. Stole the milk of hungry kittens and walked through doors marked no admittance. He said he acted thus because there wasn't Hey all, and welcome to What Passes for a Holiday. In Baltimore, there lived a boy. He wasn't anybody's boy. Although his name was... He wasn't anybody's boy. Although his name was... In Baltimore, there lived a boy. He wasn't anybody's boy. Although his name was Jabez. He stole the milk of hungry kittens and walked through doors marked no admittance. He acted thus because there wasn't any Santa Claus. Hello all, and welcome to What Passes. Another trick that... Hey there all, and welcome to What Passes as a holiday special around here. Good luck with that.